everyone, and welcome to another Tinfoil Spotlight. How's everyone doing? I hope you're having a good day so far. Oh boy, I had to get up early for work, so I'm quite tired, but I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best to entertain y'all, even though I'm very exhausted, and I'm only half awake. We got this. We got this. Totally. Amber says, good news, everyone. He walked back the tariff, so the economy probably won't collapse. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, I'm genuinely at the point where I can't tell. Is he intentionally manipulating the market to make money? Or is he dumb? Some combination? I don't know. It doesn't matter to me, I guess. Like, it matters, but I have no way of knowing, so... whatever. At least maybe we could get the Switch 2 now? I don't know. Bumble Homestead, thanks for gifting a sub. Rick M, thanks for a 190 stream streak. Says, loyal as a puppy or a robotic law enforcement officer. I love RoboPup. Carpcosian, thanks for a 7 stream streak. Says, everything is fine. America burns around me. Yeah, he said the tariffs on China aren't changing. It was everyone else. And even then, who knows if this is gonna stick? He's just doing whatever. So who knows? Anyway, so yeah, we're looking at the guru guy we've been watching who does the digital metaphysics thing. We're watching his stuff today. Should be good. It'll be good. It's gonna be good. Dumb and quite possibly senile. Yeah. Anyway, let me fix this. I didn't set the screen correctly. Again, I've been working all day. I'm tired. There we go. Look at him. We did it. All right. Housekeeping stuff out of the way. We are going to do a Patreon and YouTube member-only stream Sunday. So if you want to be a part of that, join the Patreon or become a member on YouTube. If you want to help support the stream, we're $50 away from the 420 stream tip goal. And we're a little bit behind on gift subs this month, so if you want to help support the stream, subscribing or gifting subs is always a great way to do so. Other than that, just get into it. Oh, also, YouTube, like the stream! That always helps too. So let's turn this music off, and we will get into the insanity. I just have a smattering of stuff from him today, in no particular order, so it's just gonna be kinda crackpot potpourri, you know? Anyway, let's get into this one. This video is entitled, The Law of One, Third to Fourth Density. Tea Time Tea, thanks for gifting a sub.
We get to this third density, this human density. Now, this is very highly sought after, obviously, because...
See, that's funny, because most conspiracy theorists that we talk about don't like the third density. They think the third density is bad. They're trying to get to the fifth density dimension. They kind of use them interchangeably.
You become self-aware. You become aware that you're aware. You become aware that you have choice, that you have will. That when you're exposed to the choice of, do I serve myself or do I serve other people, which we'll talk about as STS.
You're gonna ask if he means dimensions. Yeah, it's sort of like you know how you when they illustrate how liquids of different densities will sort of separate themselves by their density. So you've probably seen that image where it's like water, oil, some other kind of thing, a ping pong ball. They basically think that spatial dimensions work the same way. Like, if you're familiar with the DC Comics universe, you know how the different dimensions are sort of divided by vibration, by frequency? So, like, the Flash can use his, like, treadmill thing to go between dimensions. Kind of like that. They think that's how it really works, but instead of frequency, it's the density of the dimension. Again, you can't try and think about it like it's actual science, because it's not. You kind of have to think about it like it's a plot point from a TV show. It doesn't have to make actual physical sense, it just has to make narrative sense. It has to sound right to your monkey brain, you know? Um, Annie McKean says, "You are my density. I mean, dense destiny."
Service to self versus STO.
Unconditional prong, thanks for 33 months, says 33 is pi. Numerology for the win. 33 is pi. How would it be pi? 33 isn't 3.14159. Those are different numbers.
Service to others. You have will, you have choice, you have polarity, right? So self-awareness and polarity. This is typically what's also
saying things back to back like that doesn't mean anything if it's arbitrary.
Called the third density or 3D matrix. So when people talk about the matrix, they're...
Oh, we can play bingo, by the way. I did clear off the card. So, A, word salad on the bingo card, and B, the matrix on the bingo card.
Referencing...
You're really going to have to help me remembering this between bingo card checks. Again, very tired.
Thing, of course, that's also used in mathematics, but they're talking about it in a sense of the government, in terms of the economic machinery, in terms of politicians, in terms of propaganda, in terms of all of the main media companies, in terms of all of the fast food and high fructose corn syrup, and all of the endarkenment and asleepening
So I'm assuming that's the opposite of the enlightenment and the awakening. Okay. Gifazoa with 100 bits kicks off a hype train and says, "Is this the guy who was shirtless shadowboxing in the park?" It is. It is indeed the shirtless man. We have gone through, I think, all of his videos where he's shirtless, so don't expect to see that much today, if at all, but it is the same guy. Hey, just a peach.
Mechanisms that keep people like algorithmic sheep.
Sheeple on the bingo card.
Rather than liberated, sovereign, Gnostic beings that know their true infinite nature. And that's really what is core.
I really need to put Gnosticism on the bingo card.
Or here.
Or Gnosticism curious. Something like that.
When you go from the third to the fourth density, is it's typically the what is called in many ways the first stage of enlightenment, which is when you recognize that I am not a contracted, finite, separate energy, egoic. I'm not
egoic. Again, he's just talking about in relation to the ego, like Freudian psychology stuff.
That. And you sort of relax and expand yourself into a more cosmic consciousness. You begin recognizing a little bit more subtly that, okay, well, we all come from the same source. We all come from that same Big Bang, and our awareness then is also shared like our sources, and I become more subtly aware of awareness itself.
Okay, I'm just gonna put this out there. I know I've said this before about him. It feels like he did drugs and had ego death, and now he's desperately ever since then trying to post hoc give a borderline supernatural explanation for ego death. Like, he thinks that ego death literally means that you are one with everything. No, it means you did drugs and your brain made you feel like that. I promise you are a separate physical entity from other things and other people. You are not literally the same consciousness as everyone else. You were on drugs. I'm so tired of the drug people.
And I recognize that the observer, the witness, is paramount. It's salient. It's critical. Just like I reference in my dream at night that I I can't actually simulate out that dream and have that experience without
Minute and a half left on the hype train, 68% to level 1.
an observer,
I'm
without
bumming your high. It's okay. You can be silly as long as you don't take it seriously like this guy.
a witness, without
This is ancient wisdom, isn't it? Yeah, I'd count that.
awareness. So there is awareness simulated and the reality for awareness to experience. So look at your direct experience at night when you simulate out the dreams and recognize the poignancy, the paramountness of the observer, of the witness, of awareness itself. And then take that here, away from that dream into your awakening.
Zane says, I tried to get into psychonauts. It would be helpful if more of them actually read theory. But yeah, it's just let's do drugs. Very sad. It sucks, man. It sucks that people fry their brains on this stuff. Nemesaur, thanks for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. Very, very appreciative.
Wake state and recognize that same.
What is ego death? So ego death, if you take certain hallucinogenic drugs like mushrooms or LSD, I'm not sure which other ones specifically. I'm not going to pretend I'm some expert on this. I'm only going from my own experience when I was younger, experimenting with these things. Basically, you can get to the point where the part of your brain that identifies yourself as yourself, that, like, gives you identity, stops functioning correctly, so you no longer feel like a distinct individual. Your brain feels like you're one with everything. Again, this is an illusion. It's a drug, you know? Your brain is malfunctioning, basically, intentionally, because you took a drug. But a lot of people take this very seriously and start interpreting that feeling like they're one with everything, literally, and they literally believe that they've come across some big secret. Oh, everything's really the same thing. Oh, there's no difference between you and me. We're the same being. And it's like, no. No, you are a unique, distinct individual from everyone else. You were on drugs. So, yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
Paramountness. Okay? So you are the...
So I have a link to the MedBed show the other day, the one that showed the dual power supplies next to the beds. I can find it. Let's see. I think USA MedBeds is the name of the channel. Hold on. USA MedBeds. Something like that. No. Look on YouTube real quick. USA MedBed. Something along those lines. Ah, there it is. MedBed, Anti-Aging, and Spiritual Wellness. Here is a link to the channel. I don't know which is the specific video, but here is the channel, and you should be able to find the video somewhere on there. Make sure you check both the videos tab and the live tab, because they do live streams.
Creator. And you are the awareness.
2 minutes left on the hype train.
And you are the unique firework that is your unique gift and expression.
Did you crib that one from Katy Perry? When was this? This was 4 years ago. He could have been listening to Firework when he wrote that shit. I miss your stream streak. I'm sorry, Generty. Let me go find it real quick. If I can find it. I don't see it in my feed, unfortunately.
That's why
I believe you, I just don't have the message.
Part is called Netty.
Oh wait, here it is. Well, if nothing else, he's an expert on saying a lot of things while actually saying fuck all. True!
Not this, not that. You negate being this costume. You negate being even aware.
Minute left on the hype train. Amber says, here's the thing, a sense of interconnectedness is healthy. Acknowledging that you're part of the world, the universe knowing itself, basically is healthy, but they take it too far. Oh yeah, and ego death is different than the recognition that, like, oh, we're all interconnected. Like, that's a rational thing to recognize, is we are all related and interconnected, and what affects one of us affects all of us to some extent. That's great. Ego death is like the true belief and feeling that there is no distinction between yourself and others in a literal sense. Like, you are the same entity, which is just not true. Benikagami says, here's something to help everyone feel better. The quartering is going bankrupt, apparently. He put $80K on his credit card to buy some equipment for his coffee company after some company backed out of a deal with him over his political beliefs. That's hilarious. Holy Input, thanks for gifting a sub. And Lady Anne, thanks for 54 months with Prime. Says, that's a sub, baby. Let's name him after my awesome landlord who passed away this past weekend following a long battle with cancer. He was a Colombian immigrant named Wilson. All right, we'll name him Wilson. That sounds good. Thank you for the hype train, everyone. Much appreciated.
So that you can recognize yourself as the creator, you can recognize, pierce the veilless veil, the gateless gate, to that as your true nature. And then step 1 is that neti neti. Step 2 is the inclusion. So in step 2, you include yourself as the creator, as the impersonal, eternal awareness, and as the unique, cool firework gift costume. So the ascension from 3rd to 4th includes that moving away from person into moving more and more towards the cosmic consciousness. And it is really critical here. You move away from service to self dynamics, where you want to self-deal to yourself. You're trying to extract peace and happiness from Maya.
I understand your reference, Phoenix. It's from Castaway.
From the illusion, from substances.
Pretty good movie.
And experiences and other people. 2, now you recognize that your nature is happiness and peace. Awareness is nature, is that. The creator's nature is that. So you're no longer trying to extract it from Maya. Rather, you become in service because you recognize the...
By the way, the more I look into this guy, it seems like around 6 years ago, he was doing interviews that were a little more typical. They were still woo-woo, and he was into, like, Jordan Peterson and shit. So, like, I'm not saying that he was, like, a completely stable, rational person, but he was straight up doing interviews with, like, Matt Dillahunty and stuff. I really wonder what drug trip did him in. Was it compounding? Or did he have one trip in particular that did it? I don't know.
Quote, other is actually the self, is the creator. So
I'm curious if there have been studies on this where people have... You know, there's not been a ton of studies on hallucinogenic drugs because it's so on lockdown in the United States, even for research. I really wonder the effect of, like, hallucinogenic drugs and multiple usage for someone who degrades like this. There's not really an ethical way to test that, you know, so I'm glad we're not testing it, but it would be interesting. I guess you could just follow people who are themselves choosing to do mushrooms in high doses a lot, but you need to find a decent number of people for a sample size, and that's difficult.
That way you become in service to others.
And, like, giving them drugs, expecting them to degrade would be just fucked up to do, so you can't do that.
Or
Tuskegee 2.0. Yeah, let's not intentionally allow people to degrade for our own, informational satisfaction, but I'm hypothetically interested.
TO instead of STS. Really the core of where we're at right now. So cosmically speaking, we are So again, this was do, re, mi. We're in the mi to fa.
So interesting that he's associating these dimensions not only with colors, but with, like, pitches? Like, from a musical scale? Interesting. It's almost he's creating some sort of dimensional synesthesia. Benigagami says, I don't get why drug addicts like this feel the need to justify their addiction by saying, I took X and now I've discovered that, like, the divisions between us is like an illusion, man. Like, dog, you reciting the plot of Neon Genesis Evangelion and quoting a lot of philosophers. This isn't the profound or unique. So many of these guys just quote fantasy tropes at me, and I more marvel at how they think it's a new idea. That's the thing. I know it's easy to just be like, fuck these guys, because it's pretentious and annoying, but you gotta understand, they truly usually believe that they have stumbled across some significant moment, or some significant discovery. They really, truly do not understand that they didn't have some sort of true revelation. They were on drugs, and people like this find it difficult or impossible to separate that drug-induced feeling with the reality that it's just not that deep, man. Like, it's very sad. Let me put it that way.
And in that mi to fa, we have to remember that there's a polarity there. There's no sharp. And so the polarity is the service to self versus the service to other. And so the quote 3.5 is where a lot of people are currently feeling right now. Our role as people that care a lot about service to others, that care a lot about love, awakening to the fourth density of love, which again, these are the chakras as well, that this fourth chakra is the heart chakra. And when you open the heart chakra, that's when you get love. You get cosmic consciousness. You get the recognition that we share.
We can do poor understanding of Eastern philosophy or religion on the bingo card for the use of the chakras here.
Our being, which is what the definition of love is.
Yeah. That's probably a lot to say. Drink that water. Gotta cut that. Good, though. Reminds you to hydrate. Speaking of which, Overthought says, this is really taking the field of music theory to a whole new world.
So this is so mission critical. When we talk about things like global enlightenment, or when we talk about the planetary awakening.
This guy looks fixable. He's not. Why do you guys say that shit? Stop looking at the people on my stream who are borderline diagnosable and going, I could fix him. No, you can't. Fix yourself, motherfucker. Get your priorities straight. Keep it in your pants.
We're talking about shifting people from human, third density.
He's kind of cute, though. You know there are cute men that have not fried their brains, right? Not very many, but a few.
Service to self, to fourth density, love, service to others. Expanding them from person to more of a shepherding of consciousness.
Hey, Overthought. Oh, good. That video's over. Even for him, that was a little something. Okay, what else we got from him? He has such an interesting shirt collection. I would love to go through his closet. Just look at the number of interesting pattern shirts he has.
Question. What is it right now that knows my voice?
Who was the guy from Bones? He looked like, that's who he looked like in that video? You mean David Boreanaz? You think he looks like David Boreanaz? I could kinda see that. Hold on. Here's David Boreanaz, if you're not familiar. Using bones, and also, of course, he was Angel on Buffy. When I was a kid, I was at a store. The cashier told me I looked like David Boreanaz. I'm never gonna let that shit go. That video go we were watching. There he is. Don't say you kinda... Oh, wait, you were talking about him? Not me? Okay. How do I know who everyone is? I don't know. How do you not know?
What is it that knows the helicopter that just passed overhead?
Now that's improv. You see a helicopter, all of a sudden you got a whole new talking point. Boom, we did it.
Why do we so habitually overlook the power to know?
Can you explain to me what you mean by the power to know?
And might the power to know that we perpetually overlook, might consciousness itself be God?
No, that doesn't mean anything. That completely eliminates the definitions of both terms. Those are two different concepts you're smashing together because you think it sounds deep. MH Darkbeast with 58 months of Prime says, happy anniversary, Hannah. Time for a blast from the past. Oh god. Was this when I spit stuff all over? Yeah. What the fuck is this?
What the fuck is this?
Oh Jesus, that was 4 years ago. I've lived too long.
What the fuck is this?
Oh god, my fucking laugh is annoying.
Might the universe itself be our creation, and we watch it from right here? The power to know that we so habitually overlook.
I look so different. Yeah, hormones are crazy. Would recommend. I also lost weight since then. I've gained a little weight recently, which I'm working on, but I have lost weight since 4 years ago.
And we might ask, how do I stop habitually overlooking consciousness? How do I relax more and more into...
Vegan lady still making videos. Yeah, we might catch up on her recently. She's been saying really ignorant stuff again, maybe intentionally for views. I get that that's kind of her shtick, but yeah, she's not been great recently.
the fact that I am God? How do I relax into just pure being, pure awareness itself? The answer, my friends, is up to you. It's your direct, unique experience. But the most simple, the most easy...
Rick M says, every day in every way you're getting better and better. Thank you. Speaking of which, I'm working on getting an orchiectomy appointment, so that's pretty good. I want to get that shit done. The current administration scares the shit out of me. Very afraid they're going to take away my hormones. So I'm getting these testicles chopped the fuck off. There will not be testosterone back in my body. Not happening.
way
That's probably TMI. I apologize.
is to just relax, just breathe, and become aware that you exist.
They are annoying. Also, I wouldn't have to take one of my meds anymore, and it's the one that makes me have to urinate a lot, so that's good. My T blocker makes me have, it's like a pill that it makes you have to urinate a lot. It's very annoying. Anyway, what else? I'll tell you guys when that's happening, by the way. I'm sure you'll be very excited for me. We can have a celebratory lack of testicle stream or something. We'll have a no ball. It'll be a party where we celebrate my lack of testicles. Hydrate. Can do.
What's up, everyone? Hey, welcome to Simulation. I'm your host, Alan Sakyan, and we're going to be telling you...
Oh, he thought that was so cool when he set up that screen to do the, like, infinite recursive... He was like, boom, there's my visual.
A little bit about who I am, why we even started this. So I was born in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, in the middle of the United States. And then I went to Minneapolis, Minnesota to attend the University of Minnesota. And there I was so passionate about entrepreneurship. So many ideas, just wanting to execute them into the world. So,
you mean not November? It better happen before November.
So, of course, then I was like, let's go to Silicon Valley where people are actually executing ideas into the world. So I dropped out of college.
Or at least lying to people to get their VC currency.
College after my sophomore year, came out here when I was 19.
Seems like he's more coherent here. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is from 6 years ago. Somewhere around 4 years ago, he degraded severely. I don't know the exact moment. Like, I don't know, you know, his schedule of drug trips, or if it was like a degradation that happened over time that would have happened either way. But like 4 years ago, something happened that was a real threshold point for him. Prior to that, he's crunchy, he's a little kooky, but he's more coherent. And then about 4 years ago, it's like his brain cracked. I really don't know. And I know I'm saying this, I'm not making fun of this. I have a lot of sympathy for this guy. I feel bad. The tragedy that people do this to their brains. This is a fear of mine. I think I've talked about this. Like, the only thing I have is my brain and my ability to communicate. It's not perfect, you know? But it's a lot of how I define myself, is my ability to think about things and discuss things. If this happened to me, what a nightmare. The idea of losing cognitive function is just like a nightmare for me. So I feel for this guy. I really, really wish he had made different choices or gets help or something. It's not great.
Here the last 6 years, so I'm 25 now. And what have I been doing these last 6 years here? Well, about 4 years ago or so, I was introduced to maximizing...
Wonder what global event happened 45 years ago that shifted the culture? Oh my god! You're right, that would line up, more or less. I wonder if he had a bunch of time at home and he started going even harder on the drugs, or if he started using drugs for the first time during COVID. I hadn't even considered that. Or if just like trauma or something exacerbated problems he already had. Possible.
Human potential as something that became my essence. And so now what I did at that point was I realized that I needed to help with science communication. Science is something that helps us so much with maximizing human potential. So,
like, he's talking about science here.
So I immersed myself into becoming a science communicator. And then I jumped further into being an interlocutor. So I would start working with these different scientists, whether they be neuroscientists or people in biotech or people that were in AI and robotics, now blockchain and cryptocurrency, emotional intelligence. And I would help them. I'd help them make their messages more relatable, more fun, more entertaining, more educational, more inspiring. Then the idea of these big questions came around about last year or so. The idea of the quality of your life is the quality of your questions. And so why not ask these ridiculously powerful questions about how do we maximize human potential? What do we do about globalization? What do we do about wealth inequality? How do we birth children into the world and have them flourish? How do we flourish as a species? How do we become a pinnacle of a civilization as we prosper? Are we alone in the...
Like, here he seems like a pretty typical Silicon Valley tech bro weirdo. Like, he seems like he's probably insufferable to hang out with at a party or something, because he's got weird, maybe delusions of grandeur, and he's gonna try and sell you on whatever his fucking pitch deck is. But, like, he seems like a person. You know what I mean? He seems grounded enough where he could live his life and not scare people away, necessarily. Sad seeing how far people can degrade so quickly.
Cosmos? Are we in a simulation? And let's have the intellectuals that are at the forefront. We have so many entertainers and so many artists that are at the forefront, actors of the entertainment, of the media spotlight, and athletes as well. And it's just time that we have scientists also at the forefront of the media spotlight. So going to and asking these questions to these scientists and these entrepreneurs and these thought leaders, we're expanding.
Ryan Cooper says, headcanon, he bought a ton of GameStop at the wrong time and took drugs until it cooked his brain to ignore it during the pandemic. That might be what happened to Morantz, too.
Their mind to new areas of thought and new dimensions of consciousness, and we just propel them forward. We're rebirthing the public intellectual. It used to be that public intellectuals used to be super celebrated, and now our society's gotten so big.
When?
And so
genuinely, can I ask when? The American public hasn't been big on intellectualism for quite some time. Like, a time where I'm even thinking where pop culture tried to revere scientists was maybe, like, the 50s, when they were trying to do the whole, like, better living through chemistry stuff. Sometimes physicists and stuff would speak on air about different topics. I don't know.
So complex that it's difficult to even invest so much time into the public intellectual. And we're inspiring you to build the future across all these different subjects, fields that we listed, and how we progress as a civilization. So that has to do with civilization design, how we're going to design our world moving forward, and how we prosper together, how we become multiplanetary, the big, cool picture of how we move forward and all flourish. So how do we do this at Simulation? Well, it's not just me. We have a really amazing team of people that are super dedicated to wanting to inspire people to build the future and to make this great content for you. And we do this all through a daily show. So we host in the studio daily.
Wow, look at that. He used to have a lot of guests too, I notice.
In different...
That's dried up a lot, and the quality of guests has dropped dramatically. He used to have actual, like, people who were in different fields that would come on and talk, and now it's all other YouTube crackpots.
Longer form conversations. We have live event series that we do, anywhere from 100 seats to a couple hundred seat theaters. Hopefully we can
look at this. He used to run, like, events and stuff.
Scale that up to our big picture vision, which is eventually a couple thousand.
Like him or not, clearly he had the organizational ability in the past to put functions together, something he seems to no longer have.
Seat theaters with really high-level guests, and then we want to fill sports stadiums. We want to fill 50,000 people into a sports stadium for a full-day, multidisciplinary, immersive, inspiring event filled with curious intellectuals and also art and music and other cool cultural aspects, meditation, all this cool stuff. So we're building out this massive educational database on the way as we get there. We want to do cool things like make transcriptions of every episode, make highlights of every episode, highlight reels. We want to help build a community so you can link up with other cool people in the field of biotech or in the field of AI and chat with them in chat rooms. And we want to also maybe make it cool to take multiple choice tests about these cool videos that we're producing in these cool subject matters. And we also want to make a creative warehouse. We want to take all this production equipment, multiply it times a couple. We want to have a much larger space where artists can come, content creators can come and get housed there if they'd like. They apply to...
He almost at this point has a Billy McFarlane vibe to him. The guy behind the Fire Festival stuff. Selling. Very much in selling mode here. He's selling a vision. Very Silicon Valley. Wow. Sorry. I didn't expect this to be as interesting today. I really didn't think we'd see such a clear delineation between, 6 years ago and 4 years ago and now. Genuinely fascinating to me.
To get housed there and to use the production equipment and to pursue their
I really got to go back to college. I want to get my degree. Imagine the stuff I could do if I actually had that.
creative passion. So this is kind of what we're building out. And this has been a little bit more about me, a little bit more about what simulation is and what we care about. Remember, we are rebirthing the public intellectual. We are inspiring you to build the future. So do join us. We would love your help and support as we continue growing this operation. And join us. We got our Patreon link below. We now accept cryptocurrency. That link is below.
Oh, of course he did.
As well. And we greatly appreciate and support you. May civilization prosper. Thank you.
May civilization prosper. Oh boy, what else do we have? Here's 3 years ago. Nice beach.
I've been asked before for simple, helpful exercises.
I want to pluck his eyebrows so bad. There's one specific patch. Right there on him.
That make it easy and relatable to embody oneness, to embody unity.
Have I seen his blog yet? It's on his YouTube profile. No. Let me open it up real quick.
To embody more and more of the true essence of the nature of reality.
Oh, God. Oh. Oh no! Not Amber and Johnny! Rogan and Fauci! Oh. Wow, okay. Alright. Oh, look, there you go. Okay. Mac versus PC. One of them's dead. Oh, look at that. Jordan Peterson and fucking Noam Chomsky. I didn't even know they had beef. Loving, healing embrace. Most people have no idea what a unity is. It means there's no separation. That's there. Only you spread out across all bodies. Christians don't know that's what Christ means. Buddhists don't know that's what Buddha means. Therapists don't know that's at the root of all their clients' ailments. It's the funniest clown show. We use AI to generate so much noise. I think Grok. Of course it's the fucking Elon Musk one. I thank Grok for trusting me with the creative freedom to make these images to show what's possible. Now you know the potential exists. You have no excuse. Either you hold this loving, healing embrace or you perpetuate never-ending wars. The choice is eternally yours. Don't you mean it's ours? Aren't we all one? This is what Silicon Valley does to a motherfucker's brain.
And so I'm going to give you a pretty simple one. Take the different environments that you're at. For example, here,
He has a glossaries for his blog. Best entry, bang hole equals big bang plus black hole. We can talk all about the bang hole.
you see that we're at a beautiful beach. In this case, it's Laguna Beach. But if you don't have access to a place in nature like this, you can leverage something as simple as people watching at a local mall, let's say. And so the exercise is, while you people watch at the beach or at the mall, is can you look through all points of view simultaneously? So what I'm asking you to do is to hold all of the points of view that are happening of God, of the Creator, simultaneously, of the One.
How would you know what that is? I will say his beard is trimmed in a very satisfying way here. I just kind of want to do this to his face.
So another way to look at that is to begin doing things like slowly blurring the line, which is completely artificial, the boundary, the wall, between different people and where these people end and where another person begins. And so what you're doing is you're taking...
Where one person ended, another person begins is like their body. Like we have it's physical. What?
The point of view from here, and you're taking the point of view from here, from here, from here. And what you're doing is you're combining all of the points of view into one homogeneous unity substrate.
Okay, but you can't ever actually experience the subjective points of view of others. You can take them into consideration and try and model them. You can listen to other people express what their subjective experience is, but ultimately you are always locked into your own subjective experience, and even when you try to take into account the experience of others, it's going to be filtered through your own subjective experience, because that's all any of us will ever truly experience. Just by definition, all you can ever experience is your own subjective point of view. Because you're a person, you're an individual that exists within a species that's very interconnected, in a world that's interconnected, but you are still a individual person amongst a group. You're in a group, but you are still distinct.
Okay? Combine all...
Where do you end and I begin? The screen.
all of the points of view.
You come up with these thoughts while on drugs? Yeah, if you just got here, there's a lot of drug use going on here.
You into
Him, not me.
one
That's not until the 420 stream.
homogeneous unity substrate. So blur the line.
He stole Jordan Peterson likes to use the word substrate, the metaphysical substrate, and I think he's cribbing that.
line, dissolve more and more of the boundary, the wall, between all of the points of view. In this practice, whether you're at the mall or at the beach, what's going to happen is you're going to notice that this unity substrate of all combined the points of view, it's like a diamond fractal.
In that, explain.
It's a diamond because it's indescribably perfect. Exactly as it is.
Ryan Cooper says, I had to go through to the beginning. He's pretty a normal tech bro, a pretty normal tech bro until 2018 when he turned 25. There's a huge break and he comes back in 2023 with this time cube stuff. Interesting.
It is. All of the different points of view and their unique expression, their unique journey, their unique individuation in creation. And it's a fractal because everyone's point of view is self-similar. It's a pattern that repeats. And so you're taking all of these points of view at the beach, all of these points of view, and what you're doing is you're combining them all, you're merging them all, you're dissolving the wall, the artificial boundary of separation between the points of view, and you're merging all of those beautiful points of view into the view, the one, the infinite creator, God. And you're holding that view. You're holding the view. This is a very simple...
Who enjoys this content enough to watch it from start to finish, making fun of it doesn't count. I mean, he has almost 100,000 subscribers.
Practice.
Not as many viewers as he used to have, though.
You got it. To be able to tap in to what was taught by the greatest sages and the greatest mystic traditions. And even science is Johnny-come-lately coming to the same conclusion.
Notice how we went from him trying to advocate 6 years ago for like some sort of, you know, scientific communication to him now denigrating science by saying even science is a Johnny-come-lately.
Embody this practice and you will more clearly, more vividly be able to feel the unconditional love radiating from your heart, because you have merged all of what appeared to be distinct points of view as separate entities into one homogeneous conscious substrate of God, of the creator itself, the diamond fractal itself. Do this practice more and more often and feel that unconditional love, unity, oneness that permeates everything, and yet we perpetually overlook.
I can't look at him because of the eye contact, so I'm looking at the background. I didn't realize I was doing the same thing until you said that. I never look at people's eyes. Why would you? Not a fun place to look.
This is the root. And if we do this right,
I don't even like looking at the camera, because I know hypothetically that means that all of you are seeing my eyes as if I'm looking into your eyes. I don't like looking into cameras.
This is the most upstream solution to catalyze the most downstream harmony and flourishing as a collective.
Kind of an adorable little blown kiss at the end there. Oh, he did street interviews with people. How long ago was this? This was a year ago, so this probably didn't go great.
You're recording? Yeah?
Yeah.
Ladies, hello, I have a quick question. Would you like to participate in our video?
No thanks.
All right, cool. Ladies, I have some quick questions. You want to participate in our video?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Why wouldn't you cut out the parts where people said no?
Yo, brother, do you want to participate in the video? No. I am in flow state. Do not touch me while I inflow.
Yeah, I inflow.
Yo, I have some questions. You guys want to participate in a video?
Sorry, is this Venice Beach? You know how many crackpots probably hang out at Venice Beach and try and get you to be part of their fucking YouTube videos? Oh god. I've seen a lot of crackpots doing videos around there.
Oh, cool. Okay. You want to participate in a video? What do you do? We're asking some cool, thought-provoking questions.
Oh gosh.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, let's come over here.
Let's go.
We'll do this way. We'll face it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, what's up? What's your name?
Jason.
Jason?
Yeah.
I'm Atlas. Good to meet you.
Atlas, nice to meet you
Awesome.
as well.
Jason, our first question is, do we all come from the same source?
He calls himself Atlas. That's interesting. I'm assuming that's not his birth name. Could be. Maybe he had very Ayn Randian parents? I don't know, though. If he's self-applied, that's pretty self-aggrandizing. Whether you're using it as Atlas from, like, Greek myth, or Atlas from Atlas Shrugged, it belies, quite inflated self-importance.
Yeah.
The shirt's giving you a headache. Yeah, it's an optical illusion for drug users to go like, ooh.
Now, does that mean
Perfect for if you wanted to look like the wall at a Spencer's Gifts.
we are all one?
Yes.
All right, Jason. Next question. Does that mean our consciousness, our awareness is shared?
Yes.
Interesting. And will you elaborate a little bit on how you've come to the realizations that we come from the same source, that
No, and then just walk away. That's the baller move.
we are one, and that
Maybe
our
he wants to be a cartograph. Maybe.
consciousness is shared?
I think it goes back to a belief in a higher power greater than myself. And, yeah. I think we're all spiritual creatures, and we all share energy. So I think we are all breathing the same breath in essence.
Yes. So, another way to play with this is to ask you, how many different ways are there to paint a blank canvas?
That's such a loaded question, trying to get you to intentionally say infinity, man. Like, infinite, man. Our consciousness is just painting pictures on the substrate of the universe, bro.
How many different ways are there to organize musical notes into songs?
Our consciousness is like a fractal symphony of eternity, man.
How many different ways are there to vibrate vocal cords to make languages? How many different ways are there to put food together into recipes?
At least 4.
Made this
Between bread, in a soup, as a salad, or aspic. Those are the 4 food types.
reality just be one expression of infinite possibility?
Phoenix says, you could have been a dude bro in another life. I was a dude bro in another life. It was awful, and I was in pain in my brain all the time, pretending to be a shitty person that I fucking hate. No, bro, what if we, like, hung out and, like, just were sarcastic about everything all the fucking time, and nothing mattered? And, like... That's my impression of me before I came out.
I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me be a part of your life, and thanks for being a part of my life.
It's that simple, right?
Yeah, yeah.
One appearance out of an infinite possibility. I love it. Beautiful, Jason. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Man, that was so nice. That was so nice.
Yeah,
That was so great.
Yeah.
You rock, bro. Thank you.
My pleasure,
Thank you.
man.
Thanks for joining us.
Very much.
Yeah,
Blessed
cool.
day.
Cool. You too.
You looked so sad back then. That's the secret. I was very sad.
Yeah, it's hella trippy, huh?
Yeah, man.
That's a good start.
Yeah, good start. Yeah, good start. Nice.
Yo, do you guys want to participate in the video? Answer some thought-provoking questions. It's super fun. Yeah, exactly. It's trippy.
Yeah. It's questions like that.
It's questions like this shirt. Okay. All right, cool. Let me come here into kind of like the middle of the area. All right, so
What's going on?
so my name's Atlas. What are your names?
Shar.
Shar, cool.
Jamal.
Jamal.
Krista.
Krista. Shar, Jamal, Krista. All right. So, our first question is, what do you think is the nature of reality? What is the point of reality?
What is the point of reality? What a nonsense question. It just is. It exists. It doesn't have to have a teleological point.
Of reality. To live every moment as much as you can.
Amen.
The nature of reality.
Tara says, "Yo, bro, if we just need dicks to Yo, bro, if we're just need to be dicks to each other and are never honest about our feelings under fear of getting roasted in a separate group chat I'm not part of, me in high school almost becoming an I-word."
To a really big distraction to get your mind off of what's really going on with being human, with like the human experience, like a distraction from the human experience, basically.
Okay. He's like,
I think it's whatever you want it to be.
what is the
I
role
hate when people use lav mics like normal mics, and they try, like, I know it's not a big deal, it works, but aesthetically it annoys me.
of consciousness in reality?
To make you aware of what's going on.
Oh god, there's an acoustic guitar guy nearby. Can you hear it? Let's skip ahead.
So my name's Atlas. What's your name?
Ryan.
Good to meet you, Ryan. Thank you for.
Are you the king of Atlantis, or you know?
Ah, he knows.
Well, I'm a Castilian, so.
Nice.
What? Atlantis on the bingo card.
Nice.
Ryan, thanks for stopping and answering a couple phone questions. First question is, what do you think is the nature of reality? What is the point?
Point of reality is to keep you entertained. Am I succeeding?
Well, I mean, reality is perspective, you know. I mean, and
Yes, we are playing bingo.
believe me,
You should check the bingo card after this video, actually.
if you're looking for general answers, you're talking to the wrong guy on this, because this is what I'm out here searching for, you know. So, I mean, but you know, your reality is what you make.
Oh, did he say King of Atlantis because he thought Atlas had something to do with Atlantis? That's funny. Gitara says, meant to say let's be dicks to each other instead of need dicks, but hey, some of those guys actually ended up just needing dicks since two of them came out in college and are so much happier than they were back then.
You know, and it's a simple.
Bittergrin with 100 bit says it doesn't work though. Lav mics are omnidirectional. A hand mic will pick up less noise. You could do it. It isn't as good though. But yeah, I prefer the aesthetic more so than I care about the other stuff.
As that, you know, I mean, if you want, you know, things can be, I mean, I got my wallet stolen on the bus the other day, you know, so I'm kind of stuck out here for the time being, but if you got to be stuck somewhere,
That sucks.
you know, we're better than here, like. So.
Will you elaborate?
I'm gonna read this because it makes me feel good. Even if it's, I don't know if it's true or not, but it makes me feel good. Phoenix says, to be honest, you give so much femme that my subconscious mind forgets you're trans, and when you imitate a dude for a millisecond, I'm like, wow, she's good at faking being a guy, and then I'm like, oh right, she did that for decades. I hope that's true. I hope I come off as femme. I don't know if I do, though, and it makes me very sad. Bittergrin with 100 bits says, the first king of Atlantis was also named Atlas. Holy shit! We were wrong, chat! We were wrong. The crazy guy won. It finally happened. Thank you for correcting.
bit on the answer of perspective, reality being so deeply rooted in perspective, perception.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Roman Catholic Church wrote my family out of history, and has been hunting us down for the last 2,400 years, but, that's not the perspective anybody else is going to have on it, but, it's all interconnected, science, I guess spiritualism, I don't call it religion, that's, you're perverting faith at that point, for your own personal gain, and, I love the generalness of it, man, if you want to be a little more specific, I might be able to, help dial you in,
Do we all come from the same source?
I don't believe so.
Elaborate for us.
What is Castilian or whatever the dude said? Spanish. Basically, it's an ethnicity.
I believe they're what was here before, and then, what... It's hard just talking about it, but I, like I said, I've been doing a lot of research here over the last 3 months since I took this test, and, I know who my parents are, and I'm trying to figure out how my DNA traces back. And I come from the ancestry DNA, 11 different regions, with my mom being full-blooded Scottish. And the rest of it, I am about 1% each Scandinavian. The rest of it comes right out of the heart of the Niger River Delta, Mali, Nigeria, and, but there's nothing in between. So how do you get from there to Scandinavia, and...
So go back in the lineage far enough. Do we all come from the same source?
I can't say that for sure, and I don't want to,
Fair.
But
Would it be that the perspective, the perception that we were talking about earlier, could that be shared? Could that witnessing or the observer that's here in these units, could it be shared?
Absolutely.
Jay's Proxy says, I think unless you live in Maine, if you give your DNA to places like Ancestry, you're kind of fucked. I know most states don't have DNA protection laws. Not just you, your family members, too. Like, they've caught people for crimes, and in fairness, they committed, crimes, so I don't, feel that bad. But, in general, the privacy concern is not great. Basically, people have done their DNA, and it was close to, crime DNA, and they realize, oh, it's this person's cousin or something. So, yeah, the whole thing.
Just the fact, you're standing here doing this, and I don't know what, your end goal or your end game in this is, but it doesn't seem to be for any, malicious intent or, it's, I believe understanding is the highest form of love, and...
These people just say fucking nothing with the most breath. Understanding is the highest form of love. It feels like the beginning of a sketch. What the fuck? Comes out of nowhere.
What up, everyone? Welcome to Chicago. As you can see behind me, we got Lake Michigan. We got the downtown skyline. You know me, Alan Sakian. I'm here in the summer. We are crewing for Tony Robbins at his Unleash the Power.
This is 6 years ago, so he's probably a little more stable here than in his other videos.
With an event, passing some time with some close family friends, doing some interviews, thinking a lot about time. I'm excited to be releasing that book and video.
Why is it called Lake Michigan if it's in Chicago? It borders both Chicago and Michigan. It's between Wisconsin and Michigan.
It was about time very, very soon. I have some thoughts about society that I want to share. Thoughts on civilization, thoughts about society.
And there are lakes, so Wisconsin can suck it.
As we look around us, we don't even realize to the full extent what's going on. We're more so captivated by the short-term dopaminergic hijacks that are going on. We're not even aware of them, as in these little quickie, short-term, gratifying bursts of goodness that happen in our head rather than thinking in the long term. So take an example. I was just at a fast food restaurant like a week ago or something like that, and I posted this video when I was just observing. I observed for like 10 minutes because I just wanted to watch all of the processes that were going on in the back. And I had this clear view to the back. There were like 10 employees. A bunch of them were flipping burgers, putting lettuce on a burger. There were people doing potatoes for French fries. There were people at the cash register, people packaging all of this stuff, wrapping it. And I was just thinking, damn, this is going to be automated. And this is a lot of fucking jobs. And we're not even preparing ourselves for it. It's the worst thing ever when civilization is in the middle of political gridlock between two very... You only get...
The thing about automation is it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Automation wouldn't be a bad thing if the system we worked in didn't require us to sell our labor, to sell our time. You know, if the benefits of automation were equalized to everyone, it would be a good thing. We just need to stop fucking around.
To talk about so little on the political spectrum. The red and the blue, and it's in gridlock, and it's barely progressing. It is a little, but barely. And then you have this fucking monster force of AI and robotics that's just fucking about to take over the entire economy, and
I don't think that's the case.
we're not even talking about that as much. When was the last time that Congress made a full week-long fiasco about AI and robotics and how we needed to restructure our government and civilization and society to be prepared for the next 5 years and 10 years? We're not. We're not. There's already coffee and tea robots that are inside of stores in San Francisco. There's already a burger machine that's being developed in San Francisco that's already ready to go and put into restaurant. And this is just these measly little retail things. We already see all these positions being automated. We already know the list. Even doctors aren't safe. Medical record scanning, medical diagnostic scanning. We know this whole list. Autonomous vehicles, trucks, and taxi cabs. I mean,
I think he's overestimating the use cases for a lot of these things, in particular in things as important as medical and like self-driving. I understand that self-driving is more of a thing in places like LA and San Francisco where the weather's pretty nice, especially for like Google or Waymo. They've done geofencing, but like we're still not even close to being able to do that in a lot of the country where it snows or rains a lot. Those systems still are terrible at dealing with that stuff. So, well, self-driving vehicles are kind of, sort of a thing. Not really. Not in the way they would have you want to believe.
We just look around and we don't think twice. We don't think twice about the millions of jobs that are going to be lost and what's going to replace them. Are we retraining people for those replacement jobs? So it's become one of my missions to help society realize what the fuck's going on. Because if we don't, we're in a really shitty place. We can't be so trapped.
Chitara says the AI bros keep saying UBI is the answer to people's concerns about humans being pushed out of the workforce by AI and robots. They see an automated utopia where humans no longer have to work and can actually enjoy our lives. Big problem with that is that these people pushing the tech aren't lobbying for UBI to be a thing, and social safety nets keep getting cut. Yeah. Yep. I don't see UBI happening anytime soon, even if it was necessary to curb some sort of economic disaster. Like, you're just not going to convince people in charge that it's a good idea when their entire worldview is based on strict hierarchical structures of class. Like, it's just not happening.
By the little tiny bit of conversation that Fox News and CNN enable us to have. We got to expand our awareness. We got to enrich our minds to new dimensions of thought and consciousness that are going to enable us to have the foresight to see AI and robotics and the effect that that's going to have on us. We got to be prepared. We have to be prepared. Otherwise, we're going to experience some major suffering, some huge economic and political turmoil across the world. And I am not okay with that. I want to bring this foresight and enrich more people. I know a lot of people are thinking about it.
Sorry, Fennikagami. Fennikagami says, gotta be honest, guys like this piss me off. His love crap comes off like, I know you're starving, but have you heard of the healing word of Christ? It's just drivel that makes people feel enlightened for being above the petty concerns of the real world, and I've lost all patience for that shit. I feel ya.
This is just one of many things that I've learned that I have a good amount of foresight about. Another thing that I think I have a good amount of foresight about is what's going on with blockchain and cryptocurrency. There's a whole revolution. Whatever is going to happen to fiat currency or paper money that has been enabling us to exchange these sheets of paper for services and goods, which has been fantastic. It's enabled us to achieve so much with our economy and progressing civilization moving forward. And it's been thanks to the centralized banking system that we believe has been implemented by the Rothschilds in all these countries.
Oh, Jesus.
And then circulate that money that enables people to do all these different things that people work for, they earn, then they go spend. But this is about to be flipped on its head. Who knows? Maybe Satoshi Nakamoto was, maybe that was a Rothschild. Maybe.
He's saying he thinks the Rothschilds invented Bitcoin.
Maybe they're the ones that eked out cryptocurrency because they knew it would be inevitable, blockchains. So we never know. We'll never know. Maybe we'll know later. Who knows? But right now, it's a major transition into that field, and we have no idea where that's going to take us. None. We don't know how fiat currency is going to die and how stably it's going to die without suffering or major.
Of course, he feels it's inevitable that it will die. That's interesting.
How cryptocurrency is going to rank up above all else.
Lisa Lamb thinks for 3 months, says 3 months wiser.
And how that,
or at least 3 months entertained, hopefully.
That is going to affect things like wealth inequality, how that's going to affect things like...
All right. He's honestly boring me a bit here. Again, that's from his more sane period. Not as interesting. So I'm going to use the bathroom real quick while I'm gone. Cher will tell you about... While I'm gone, Cher will tell you about Deep Blue Sea. I'll be right back, since we're about halfway through the stream as well. If you like it, consider supporting the stream by becoming a member on YouTube or a subscriber on Twitch or gifting subs. Be right back. Hello, everyone. How's it going?
every time that there is some sort of a catalyst of
I want to once again point out the shirts. He's always got some crazy pattern shirt. Has anyone seen I Think You Should Leave? Remember the shirt thing where it's the shirts have complicated patterns? Kind of feels like his whole style is based on that bit.
suffering. It's just reminding you to close the gap between the illusory separation and the intoxication of Maya and your person identity, to re-identify yourself as God, to reunite as God. Every catalyst.
I really don't like the weird woo-woo spirituality thing of calling yourself God. It's just feels like narcissism with extra steps.
Is just trying to fix the distortion. And the more that you turn around, the more that you unfreeze your will and choice from the algorithms and the scripts that we've perpetuated with our conditioning, and rather we sovereignly turn inward and unite with this very force of creation, re-identify yourself with the very force of creation itself. I am the force of creation. I am source expressing itself as God playing with itself.
I'm God playing with himself? My existence is the masturbatory fantasy of a deity. I can deal with a lot of kinks, but I'm gonna be honest, if my existence is doing it for him, I am gonna kink shame that. What the fuck? You into Blu-rays? You into mediocrity? What are we doing?
That's all you need to do. You will no longer see separate people. You will see everything as God playing with itself. You will see everything as a divine
God playing with little dolls of everyone on Earth. Now, Kith.
exploration. You will see this entire universe as an appearance of infinity.
I've heard of it, Bo Bandy. I've not watched it, though.
It's that simple.
Jimmy Tea Time, thanks for 19 months, says, hooray, anniversary! Indeed, thank you so much for the support.
Radically know, love, and accept yourself. Again, radically know, love, and accept yourself. And relax the contracted identity from the person to God, to the very source of creation itself. If you do those two things, radically know, love, and accept yourself, see yourself as God sees you with that same love, have the same love for yourself that God has for you, because you are that. There is no gap. It's an illusion. But it's up to you to disassociate yourself from the contracted energy of personhood towards...
He seems like he has his own set of terms for things. He does. He has special definitions. Phoenix Leftist, thanks for a 335 stream streak. It's a hell of a streak.
Being God, towards recognizing yourself as God, as source.
Recognizing.
As the one infinite creator expressing itself in this creation. So again, the two things, know, love, and accept yourself radically, truly. Unconditionally. And the second thing, shift your identity from being a person to being God. To being the very source of creation itself.
Okay, but you're not. You're a person. So maybe find some sort of fulfillment out of being a person, because that's what you are. So that would be healthy if you could understand that and cope with that like everyone else does. Chitara says there's something neat about the idea that all of us are little bits of the universe experiencing itself, but at the same time, there's no need to develop a literal god complex over it. Yeah, it's insane.
And see, everywhere you look is all God playing with itself. Everywhere is that. And that is the eradication of malevolence. That is the eradication of suffering. You will no longer inflict malevolence, because you will truly know yourself. You will truly be a Gnostic being. You will know yourself as source, as the one infinite creator expressing itself, and you will see the one infinite creator.
Holy Input says, most German philosophers also invented words. I'm stupid enough to be unable to distinguish between these guys and real philosophers, only on an aesthetic level, maybe. The funny thing is, some of the early ones were also pseudoscientists. Like, Freud is important, and I like reading his stuff because I find it interesting. Like, the history of, like, psychology and early beliefs about psychoanalytics. But, like, it's pseudoscience for the most part. So, thanks, early psychoanalysts and psychologists, for getting the ball rolling. Kind of wish you'd had more rigor, but, you know, whatever. Stone Corbell says, the eradication of malevolence is the name of my new death metal band. Pretty good.
Source, God, everywhere you look, playing with itself. You'll come from there, rather than coming from your person conditioning.
Freud is also relatively fun to read, unlike Jung, who makes me want to... I don't like Carl Jung!
You will come from God. You will come from a pure...
I blame Jung for Peterson. I blame Carl Jung for Jordan Peterson. Okay? I said it.
place of serving your own creation. That's as simple as we can get spirituality. Know, love, and accept yourself, and identify yourself as God, as source, not as the person.
Boop 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 boop. Bum 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 bum.
Spirituality as a whole program must also self-destruct for you to return to the natural state.
Overthought with 100 bits says, I hate Young. Tell Young I have you, Peterson.
That's right. It's a good segue into jumping into the stages. That is, as Frank just described to you.
No Nintendo Switch for you guys. I know. Sad. I'm hoping since Trump backed off some of the tariffs things, but whatever. Frankly, it doesn't matter. I can't buy that shit for at least another year anyway, probably. That's optimistic, so whatever.
In these short...
Fine. What am I complaining about? I literally stream for a living. I have a giant movie collection. I have a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox. I have a Nintendo Switch 1. Shut the fuck up, Hannah. You're genuinely one of the most entitled and lucky people in human history. Your problems are nothing.
Stages, that is this fifth stage, transcending the entire paradigm of spirituality itself.
Slapped 125% on China. Yeah, but the Switches aren't manufactured in China anymore. I'm pretty sure they moved a lot of their manufacturing to Vietnam. And I think he dropped the ones on Vietnam, or at least the retaliatory ones. I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck he's doing.
That very natty state, the natural state. So we'll go ahead and pull up towards this long definition of the stages first, and a brief entry into that. We're just going to mention that each stage has 3 levels. There's the more intellectual, there's the experiential, and the realized. And it's important to be sincere and honest with which level you are at.
Are the penguins still being tariffed? The original tariffs, maybe? I'm not exactly clear. I only read a little bit before stream about it, because I took a nap before stream, because like I said, I had to get up at like 6 this morning for work. So I took a nap after work. And when I woke up, he had done something about the tariffs. I don't know.
With each stage. So let's go ahead and have Frank kick us off with the stages defined long.
Okay, let's do it. So, before I go into the stages, I just want to remind people that all those stages are just references. Just like the quote that I read, nothing can, no labels can touch this. But during the path, it's very valuable to have stages. I mean, it helped myself and a lot of other people. And if you look at a lot of different research about the different stages of waking that actual people go through, like Worship Jeffrey Martin, or even the Theravada four-path
Still
model.
10% tariffs on the penguins.
So there's
so funny. They tried to post hoc justify that, by the way, by being like, we wanted to make sure people weren't trying to avoid tariffs by going to another country with their products. First of all, the penguin fucking country doesn't have an industrial port, so they can't do that in the first place. And secondly, pretty sure tariffs are based on the point of origin originally, and not, if you can't like ping it off another country to trick you. That's not the point. The point of origin of the product, not where it most recently came from.
the models that are, advocated by people like Daniel Ingram or whatever tradition that you're in. There's always going to be some kind of stages in there, except for the really radical non-dual teachers. But usually people do go through different stages of unfoldment. And the stage what we're going to talk about, if you really want to match it, you can match it to any school, any tradition, and it will make sense. Stage number 1 is ego stage of separation. Basically, you're identifying yourself with this character inside the Mitsu. Your sense of identity.
All right, this guest is boring me. Well, yeah, we do need to look at the Master Bingo card. Wow, sorry. I'm losing it today. All right, we had Ancient Wisdom. We had Poor Understanding of Eastern Philosophy and Religion. What else did we have? Incorrectly believes evidence is self-evident. Vibes-based conspiracy. Dimensions beyond our own. We did have Atlantis. Atlantis, 33. Word salad, yes, of course. We had sheeple. I believe he called someone a sheep, or called people in general a sheep. I did warn you I was sleepy. True, true, true. Hannah dies of laughter. I don't think I died of laughter, did I? Did I forget something? Rothschild equals Illuminati? No, I don't know about that one. Oh, from the Trump-Biden photos. You know what? Sure, Hannah might die of laughter. I laughed pretty good at that one. Past lives reincarnation. He actually doesn't believe in past lives, so no. He mentioned the Matrix, I know that. Did he mention MK Ultra? The deep state? I don't think he said deep state. The clip of me dying laughing doesn't count, but I did crack up at the blog enough that I'll count it. Isn't just Rothschilds just overt anti-Semitism? Are the Rothschilds Jewish? I always forget, because it doesn't fucking matter to me. If they are, then yes. I would call that thinly veiled anti-Semitism. Let me look. feel like I'm gonna get put on a list for Googling, are the Rothschilds Jewish? Okay, they are. Okay, that's thinly veiled anti-Semitism then, for sure. It's mostly that people think they're Jewish. Looks like the American Jewish Committee says they're a Jewish family. Scientism. You know what? I'll count that. He did say something vaguely against science in that beach video. Alright, I think we are caught up.
So, it's been a little while since I've made one of these direct messages, videos on the YouTube channel. Been about...
Are we on a date? Ooh, game idea! Okay, so you know, like, dating sims? Like Steam is full of dating sim games. Or, like, on Switch, I have a game that's like a Monster Prom dating sim game. So, dating sim game, but all of the potential suitors are different conspiracy theorists we've covered on stream. So you can court like Peter or this guy or CC, and you gotta choose the right dialogue.
a year or so.
And it'll take place in like a high school, and I'll be the principal. And all of them are teenage versions of themselves or something, I don't know. And they're anime, and they're all anime versions of themselves.
And it's been great. It's been instrumental in deepening silence, realization.
Utara says, I'm on it. Gonna have all of Cece's dates in his car. Oh, he'll love that. That's his favorite place.
Integration. And dissolution. Of all projection. Of all falsity.
Jesus Christ, could this video be sore? I'm gonna move on. Ooh, we watched his first video on digital metaphysics. Let's look at part 2, non-local realism. There's a Russian version of this guy? Oh boy.
I don't care about you or anything you have, including your car, apartments, fights, yachts, or anything else. I have no interest in any of...
I can't play this because the music on it is a Hans Zimmer song that was used in the film Interstellar, so I unfortunately can't play that without getting the monetization for this video removed. And I need it, because this is my job. I apologize.
All right.
No, you're okay. I know you didn't do it intentionally. It's cool. That's my job. I'm the goalkeeper. That's why I just said I can't watch it. Fine.
So we just finished up the last video on...
Using Interstellar theme tune should be on the bingo card. I think Hans Zimmer in general wouldn't be bad, because like sometimes the Interstellar soundtrack gets used too. Again, Hans Zimmer does a lot of like epic building tracks, you know? And that gives the impression of something intense and important, which conspiracy theories often try to, cloak themselves in.
A new model. So now
Chase a Proxy says, "Bwom." I almost missed the era of movie trailers where all of them had those bwom noises. Because now we're still kind of in the era of doing, like, soft piano versions of famous songs. We're in that era of movie trailers. Basically, since, like, Ghostbusters 2016, we've been in an era where in trailers, they will take either a famous theme song or a famous pop culture song and just, like, do a new, slower version of it. Hate that shit. It was good, like, twice.
Now our next video is going
Was
to
Inception the start of the bwom? Yes.
cover the subject of non-local realism. All right. So,
I love his little mic like he's giving a keynote presentation. So official.
let's go ahead and do a similar format where we have our old way of seeing, or our old model. And the old model's name is local realism or materialism, physicalism, physicality, or solidity. Which looks sort of like this. So here's you.
A skateboard. No, not a skateboard. Bench?
And
Sign.
here's your
So bad at Pictionary. Billboard. Family. Television. Television. It's a television.
This is basically an object,
It's an object. We did it. It
right?
was right the whole time.
So you could have, this is a TV. You could easily have a house.
Damn, that's either a tiny house or a giant television. Or that whiteboard is a split diopter shot and the house is in the background.
You could even have a tree. You could have, whatever you
You can have trees. Trees do be things.
want. So later, everything integrates into a single consciousness and its appearance as one. But
Why
where
does the
we
stick figure have no arms? Jesus, Phoenix, you can't just ask people why they don't have arms.
find ourselves most of the time is we find ourselves inside of objects, inside of
Sometimes I'm inside of this outfit. I'm inside of this house. Not usually inside a TV.
physicality, inside of
No, that's probably not true. People probably watch me on YouTube on their TV, so you could argue in some ways I'm in a TV. I'm in the internet. Ooh. I don't have a theremin.
objective reality. So we believe that we are inside. This is where it gets both tricky, but also this is where all the suffering comes from. You don't want to be inside, but you don't want...
I love being inside. It's my favorite thing. If I could never leave the inside, I never would.
To but you don't want to detach completely from the appearance either, in a complete sense of unreality either. So that's why there's balance, harmony. So one good way of doing this is to see that the observer or consciousness is really warping or simulating so just let's say that
So inside is pain.
and we use purple for the new one.
Okay.
So the new one...
I kind of feel like you should have drawn all this stuff first.
is really that this may as well just put it right here.
I do not understand the old stuff at all. I don't know what he means by inside pain, outside free. I know he thinks he's illustrated something here, but he really has not.
Is that...
He making the fucking...
consciousness...
Oh my god, he's doing the stupid tree again.
Or the observer... is really simulating this dreamscape.
This is just simulation theory with extra steps. Do you think Descartes was this insufferable?
So, the new is non-local realism.
Sorry, now I'm genuinely just imagining Descartes with a fucking chalkboard or something being like, all right, we're in the dream created by the demon as torture.
Which is really...
Whatever you say, man.
It's really like a consciousness rooted way of seeing or experiencing simulated information.
Does he understand that putting an equal between two words doesn't make it true? Like, he's drawing things like it has the weight of, like, something like symbolic logic. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen actual philosophers use symbolic logic to try and make a point. It's convoluted, right? And it kind of feels like he's trying to do that, but he doesn't know how to do that. So he's just, like, writing shit and hoping that the fact that he wrote it down makes it seem more legitimate.
So we go from being inside...
I do not have a whiteboard, no.
And believing that we're in a world of others and of independently existing objects, and we're not consciousness, to, you know, zooming out or warping
Fish equals Hannah. If you want to see gill slits, subscribe to my OnlyFins.
out of the object space, water bottle exists because consciousness.
No! The object exists. Our perception of the object exists because of us, but the object exists.
Water bottle exists because consciousness.
It doesn't. Your perception of it does.
No consciousness, no water bottle.
But no, it's a physical object. It's a physical object that exists in material reality.
Not possible to not be consciousness.
But explain why do you think that?
Consciousness enables appearance and existence of water bottle. Something that feels hard and solid and like an object is really just information. It's really just information. Information for consciousness to experience.
No. It's information that's you gather information via your sensory organs that is interpreted by your brain. That doesn't mean the object literally is information. That's absurd. Bittergrin says, I mean, technically water bottles only exist because consciousness enabled the manufacturing. He doesn't mean it like that. Doesn't mean it like that at all, but I know what you mean. But he just means it as an object.
Information for consciousness to enjoy the appearance of, entertain itself with.
Like, he's literally saying right now that his answer to if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it doesn't make a sound, his answer is there is no tree. There's not only is there not a sound, there's no tree. And that's just absurd.
Nourish itself with.
Biz with a $3 tip says this guy is insufferable. One of the best tips I've ever received. This guy's insufferable. Here's $3. Sorry, I just really imagined it like someone like slapped down $3 in front of me and went, this guy sucks! Yeah, he does.
So, two things.
If you fall in a forest and no one sees, does that mean I don't exist? No, but hopefully you're not too injured, because no one saw you fall.
One thing is that...
Has he talked about his awakening? I haven't seen it, but I'm on the lookout for it.
This is a huge paradigm shift also in physics. Because...
Does the tree have jurisdiction? I do not stand under its branches, and therefore I do not stand under its authority.
Essentially, what is being said is that from the physics perspective, what's changing is that gravity is being equivalent to the observer.
What?
And then...
What does that even mean? Gravity equals observer? I'm gravity? What do you mean I'm gravity? What?
The observer is both creating and eating, which we'll get to this more later, is both creating and eating, or creating and experiencing, creating and consuming. This is in the form of a spinner. Experience. So it's creating and eating experience or information.
Were the Langoliers?
Information.
I was feeling rather space-time meatball-y.
In the form of quanta. So
we did it! We got some quantum word salad. We did it.
So the fields of information so these, fields of information are warped or summoned by the observer or by gravity. We have observer written down there.
He's still not explaining it. Did we already have conspiracy theorist thinks evidence is self-evident on the bingo card? Because he really seems to think that what he's writing makes sense to other people. Like, he's not explaining his train of thought.
So this is really important because from the perspective of physics, you have general relativity and quantum mechanics that are trying to be reconciled into a singular understanding of the nature of reality. But what you need in order for that reconciliation to happen is you need to be fully rooted at consciousness. Only by being fully rooted at consciousness can you then come up with a theory of existence, an understanding of reality, which is that all quanta, all fields of information, all information itself, phone, water bottle, marker, whiteboard, phone or computer or TV that you're holding right now or experiencing, that is information. Fundamentally is information. That information, those particles, that is information.
Just so everyone knows, I'm probably going to be done in about 20-ish minutes. I'm going to go a little short today just because I worked this morning and I want to make dinner.
And that information is created and experienced by consciousness, like a spinner, like something that simultaneously creates and consumes simultaneously. We'll get more into that later. But this is our...
Viz says 20 more minutes of this guy. Yay! You're on the right channel.
Non-local realism. Reality is not independently existing from consciousness.
It does, though. You have to evidence that. As far as we know, reality is material. If you believe that not to be the case, you need to at least put forward an argument and not just say it like it's self-evidently true.
Oh, solid, physical...
Has he studied philosophy? I'll take him more seriously if he has. I genuinely don't know.
Reality...
I don't think so.
The independent...
At least not in any academic context.
Existing from consciousness. There's no solid, real TV, house, or tree that exists without consciousness or without observer that is giving it its appearance and experiencing it. So,
do I have a garden? No, I shouldn't be trusted to keep things alive.
So really, we want to become a master at,
Other than the cats.
take it in for a second if you need, and then I'm gonna...
Let me put it this way. I don't love plants the way I love cats. I'd be less responsible toward the plants.
Erase it and make something new. So, this is important because you want to become a master at something.
Brutal but true, Halloween Town.
So, well, you want to become a master of reality. If you're interested in this content, you pretty much want that. So, one way of understanding
Wait, what did he say that was conspiracy theorist tells on
word
themselves? I must have missed it.
Metaphysics is about is, yes, it is the study or the understanding of the nature of reality or existence, but it's also mastery at that, right? So you really want, fundamentally, like at the root, you want mastery of reality. So, and then the word digital is there because it's free, it's malleable, it's information, it's fluid, it's dreamlike, it's created and experienced on the fly, rendered. Like in a game with procedural generation, it's like the steps are warping beneath your feet as you're walking on the street, and they're disappearing behind you.
What?
So
no, that's not how reality or procedural generation works. What are you talking about?
You're summoning, you're calling, right? You're prompting an object into existence, right?
You're not.
So I am now going to prompt water bottle into existence, into my field of experience. You want to become masterful at creation. Mastering reality is mastering creation. So you know, the digital is really, it's free. You know, it's malleable. It's information. Rendered on the fly. And then you say, by what? Obviously, by consciousness. And we'll get into this more later, but by choice, by will, by desire. You know, art art, entertainment,
What about them?
drama.
Okay, what about them? Would argue
All right.
entertainment and drama are kind of redundant.
So,
Who's art? I don't know, some kind of carny.
this is going to lead us really well into the next session on programs.
Am I entertainment? Not according to my analytics.
But to wrap this one up, how mastering reality, right, is mastering how reality appears, right? So you want to know, how reality appears. And that's why we keep ourselves very anchored at this, at this tree plus circle symbols. Because how reality is appearing is through that same protocol. A very simple, just consciousness.
He's obsessed with the tree, Orion. This is basically his cosmological model, is the goddamn tree.
Programs. And you could even write experience here, or reality. Right? So you have to investigate the root, right? You have to investigate, right? Like a detective, right? A detective is holding a, like a magnifying glass, and is, and it's trying to look like, what's going on down here? What is the core programs or metaphysics that I'm running at the root of consciousness? That are the programs that are giving rise to the fruit of reality or experience.
Alright, I don't know why this is randomly on my mind. Did I ever tell you guys there's a conspiracy theorist out there that legitimately thinks I'm a reptilian? Like, you know how I do the running joke? I mean, definitely very serious observation that I'm a reptilian. There's a conspiracy theorist that believes that. He believes in reptilians, and he must have caught one of my streams. No, not Wormhat. It's a random guy you guys don't know. Yeah. I think he made another video about me recently. I got a notification about it because he added me.
It's the fruit or the, the leaves. And very important is to know how to recode, right? How to transform oneself, how to change one's mind. How do you change the programs that are running inside? You have to investigate. You have to be willing to investigate first if you want to change or recode the way that you see or the programs that you're running. And a good way to know that is if you're suffering. Like if you have lots of anxiety, then you're running programs or assumptions that are making you feel that way. And it's hard to say it because it's so frustrating when you're in it. But as soon as you see yourself as giving rise to that experience to learn how to
Viz says, Jesus, here's another $3. Thank you. Appreciate you.
master your own experience, then you learn how to not fabricate that, right? You're no longer creating, like when you see your, little advertisement that comes up in your field of experience, like a little ad comes up in your field of experience and it's like, click on me to feel anxiety or to feel pain or restlessness or unfulfillment, and you just see it as an ad. And it's just like, nah, I'm not really interested in that ad. I don't want to create that ad, But if someone's coming to you with earnest desire to change themselves and they need you to help hold space for them, like that's part of
There's only 7 more minutes left in this video, chat. At this point, it's just the end of an endurance contest. We can do it. We're in the last mile of a marathon, and we can do this together. If you've made it this far, you're not allowed to leave. Those are the rules.
mastery.
You're locked in here with me.
Part of your mastery is learning how to hold transformative space.
She's secretly not trans. In fairness, if I'm a lizard, it's all cloaca anyway.
So if you don't know how to hold transformative space for someone that really wants to heal, then that's a great place to start, is with yourself. With yourself, like going into the places in yourself that you're running these programs and assumptions, that you feel like you haven't healed or addressed certain pains within your heart, within your mind, your gut, your body, those tension points. Like, where are you still repressing or holding secrets or not willing to have discussions, not willing to love someone or forgive someone that's wronged you? Where are you not willing to surrender your own ego and mask and apologize and cry and hold someone and learn to be held and learn to be loved, etc.? So that's part of the cycle of contraction and expansion, or of pain and healing. So
I may or may not have sped him up.
one more whiteboard on this sesh. Take it in if you need. Okay. All right, very last thing on the subject of non-local realism. So, okay, well, what's the summary? Give me a sentence summary. I typically suggest that to...
He did take 30 minutes to explain what he could have explained in, like, 2 sentences. All he would have had to have said is, I believe that the physical world does not exist when you aren't observing it. That's all you needed to say. You didn't elaborate really any more than that. You just used more words to say that. You don't think physical reality exists when it's not being observed by a consciousness. And you have no evidence or reason to believe that. You just do. I saved you 30 minutes!
Those who I'm working with, I say, give me your sentence summary of that thing that you're talking about, or that creative project you're working on, or whatever. Like, what's the summary?
I didn't even have to draw a tree.
Right? It's really the seed. So, reality is information.
You actually wrote info is reality. Why did you write it upside down or backwards if you wanted it to be reality as info? We read top to bottom, not bottom to top. Oh, the fucking tree! He's so obsessed with this goddamn tree metaphor! He just tries to shove trees into everything.
Not form. Reality is information, not form.
Do I know the reason why sovereign citizens back to the posse were so obsessed with not being in commerce? Because of the old definition in Black's Law Dictionary, version 2 or 3 from like the 1920s that uses employed incorrectly, or not incorrectly, they interpret the use of employed incorrectly.
It is.
To some extent, it's also because they think everything is contract law, and if it is, then they have to have mutual consent.
Freedom. Freedom. Freedom.
We did it! He made it even stupider, Tree.
Freedom. Creative.
Don't dead open inside.
Creative freedom. Reality is creative freedom. So you want to make a shift to reality being this infinite creative freedom instead of reality being something solid. You want to shift from solidity to reality being infinite.
BC says the reason he wrote reality as info like that is because a tree goes from the ground. It's so deep. Of course it does. Grows from the ground. How did I not get that? Ugh.
Creative power.
Losing my touch, chat.
So from...
Or maybe I woke up at 6 a.m. One of the two.
From solidity to... We got some USA coloration. Love it. Love it. From solidity to infinite, creative, power, freedom, etc.
Could we be any clearer?
So it's been said so many times in that way of seeing. In the old model, that space and time are this real place that consciousness is inside of as a time-based entity. Whereas in this model, space and time are rendered on the fly for consciousness to experience stories, scenes, information, joy, freedom, pain, suffering, healing, all of this, drama, entertainment, all of that. So that infinite potential is just actualizing itself as this information scape, which looks like space, time, world, others, all these systems. All right, good stuff. So wrapping that one up, non-local realism, and we'll be heading off to programs next. So chit chat in the comments below, and thanks for tuning in. And we'll jam on the next one here soon.
We'll jam on. Fuck, that sounds like a catchphrase for a 90s kids TV show that's trying to be a toy line.
And thanks for tuning in. And we'll jam on the next one here soon.
Jam on! And then it would be like the X-Jammers, or like the Jam Squad. Let's jam! And then they do like their transformation sequence or whatever. Anyway, so he has a bunch more videos on this we'll probably cover someday in the future, but I'm pretty blown out on him right now, so... Let's see who we're gonna rate on Twitch. Thanks everyone for hanging out today. I really appreciate it, especially because I know that this particular guy is a lot. So thank you for spending time today. Tomorrow I won't be, streaming because I work a long day and I gotta get up early again. But I will be back Friday to do another, maybe slightly longer stream since I'm not able to stream tomorrow. So yeah, cool stuff. Thank you so much, everyone, again. I appreciate your viewership more than you'll ever know. I hope you stop by again soon. Oh, who are we gonna rate?
And shrink. GG. I knew I could make him crazy enough to try.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. I will see you soon, and stay cool. Nope, that's in. Sorry, I'm having trouble typing today. There we go. All right. Once again, have a great night, everyone. I'll see you soon. Hopefully Friday. Bye, everyone.